Yes, people, welcome back to another Premier League predictions on the Only Higher. And on this week's episode, we're talking about match week 3. Yes, this is the week where can Manchester United and Newcastle pick up their first win for the season. Can Thomas Frank continue on his good roll of form with his new club? Can Marcus Silva break down Enzo Maresca's tactics as well as he did Rúben Amorim? And can my boy Eze finish and put one behind Liverpool? Yes, it's all happening today on the Only Yahya. So let's jump into it straight away. Let's preview the games for the week. So here we have a big game. We have Chelsea versus Fulham kicking it off early. Marcus Silva. Marcus Silva, I hope you have broken down Enzo Maresca's tactics the way you've done Rúben Amorim's. Because, there's a delusion. Let me pull up the big screen for a second. There's a delusional group of people. YouTubers, pundits, fans, content creators, name it. Everything somebody says about Manchester United makes your algorithm multiply. These people will create agendas to target the club. Now, have we ever heard them break down any other manager's way of playing except for Amorim and Ten Hag in the last 5 to 10 years? The way they do it. Because they bring you tactics, they bring you analysis. But I'm talking about when Slot broke down Ten Hag's way of playing. And Marcus Silva breaks down Rúben Amorim's way of playing. The whole world acts like there isn't something called a scouting report. Now, for those of us who actually are really intertwined and love football and are football fanatics and lovers and breathe and sleep and poop and just love football, we know something called a scouting report. Now, for those people who don't know, right, a scouting report is something that us coaches get for the team that he's going to play. So his analysts, his other coaches, the scouts, all these people are sent to analyze this data to then allow the coach to be able to watch the film, give him the data, all of this. Why do y'all think we have all these GPS trackers and so right now in football? Analytics. You have all these cameras even at training. So if teams now are filming trainings on video cameras, on all bot cameras, on all these different cameras, how is it now that a top professional team who have a team of analysts, data analysts, scouts, other coaches, don't have enough footage to break down another professional team? It's just a joke. It's just called targeting somebody. But yeah, Chelsea is about to play Fulham this weekend, and I think Marcus Silva is going to lose that game. I actually think Chelsea is on a mad run. Chelsea is probably going to go on a good run for the next 6 to 10 games. And be careful, because if Chelsea get a good run of form, we are going to be in a lot of trouble. Because this young team has just won 2 trophies within the year. Do not underestimate people that win trophies. Do not underestimate the feeling of winning a trophy. You heard what Eze said in his interview for Arsenal. When we get down there, you will realize what it means when you win a trophy. So Manchester United plays Burnley. And I think that there is a problem with this team. Now, it's not about quality. It's not about technicality. It's not about physicality. It's really about mentality. Manchester United is in a very, very poor place mentally. Rival fans can feel it. All the pundits can feel it. And you can tell because the club is in such a fragile place right now. Every bad result, whether it's a draw or a loss, because losing, Man U is the only team that draw and the whole world goes up into a frenzy. Man U draws, loses a game against Arsenal, 2 games in the window, and everyone goes crazy. The pressure is already building. Then have y'all realized, before every cup game for Manchester United, they've always been a rumor of one of our players. Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, David De Gea. You remember him from the Europa League final? People, they always try to destabilize Man U's locker room before an important game and before a very important final. And we have to play notice of this as people who love Manchester United and look and put out our best foot to help to defend this club. We cannot consistently attack young players, consistently attack managers, consistently attack all the players at the club and expect success. It doesn't work that way. You have to encourage and create an environment for things to flourish, to be better. Now, Rúben Amorim had some things to say about the situation with him and Manchester United and what happened. So, his post-match, a lot of people are talking about this 22 players quote, but there was so many other things in this that for me, showed me why Rúben Amorim, hey, if you look sharp, the boss might quit. But just listen to his quotes for a second. Let's listen to what he had to say when the managers asked him about his formation. Now, the reporter tried to ask him, do you think you should change your system? This is another thing with people, right? I don't like. Why is it people acting like Rúben Amorim's system is the first person to ever play 3 in the back in the Premier League? Antonio Conte won the Premier League with 3 in the back. He won the Champions League. Thomas Tuchel won the Champions League with Chelsea with 3 in the back. Brentford has played 3 in the back. Arsenal has played 3 in the back. How many teams have played 3 in the back? When Pep actually builds up with Man City, it's actually 3 in the back. You know, most times United is actually in a back 4 than they are actually in a back 3. But everybody talks about all this punditry and this and this and that. Really pay attention to it. He is not the only guy in the Premier League that's ever played 3 in the back. And if really the only thing with Amorim's formation is that it's just a bit shifted. You know, if you have a clock, instead of the 1 being where it is, or say the 12 being where it is, maybe the 12 will be at the 3. Because think about it for a second. People say you have 5 in the back, because they like to say 5 in the back now. But United always defending 1-on-1 with 3 defenders. But all of a sudden they have 5 in the back. Fair. Luke Shaw is a left back, so naturally not really a centre back. So that's an outlet. Dillet and Euro are actually centre backs. And then you have Dogu, who is a left back. So if you really think about it, you actually just have a back 4, especially when Amad Diallo is playing. Now, when Amad Diallo is playing, how many attackers do you have on the pitch? Bruno, Amad, Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesco. That's 5 attackers. And a midfielder. So what's the difference? And another defensive midfielder. So what's the difference? What's the difference having a right back, 2 centre backs and a left back, 2 8s, 3 10s, and a number 9? What's the difference? What's the difference? I literally just named the same type of players in a different formation. So my point to you is structurally it's not a problem. It's mentality. All of them are picking up the balls in areas that they're comfortable with. You know, people talk about Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes. What Bruno Fernandes? What Bruno Fernandes? Anyways, we don't want to go down too much into this because this is not a Manchester United preview. This is the Premier League preview. So let's just listen to Rúben Amorim quotes.
It's not about the formation. We play against...
Sorry.
It's not about the formation. We play against Arsenal, we play really well the formation. We play against Liverpool, we go to Europa League final in the disaster season with the same system. The system is not important. We can play with 3 defenders, 4 defenders, 5 defenders. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we need to be different, and that is the job of the coach. And you can see that nothing changed.
You didn't watch the penalty shootout.
The penalty shootout is not important. That is if I'm there, like trying to see if we win the game, it does.
Hey, look at his face though. But y'all listening to what he's saying, right? He's right. It have nothing to do with the formation. You can put 5, 10, 50. You can play 4 in the back, 5 in the back, 6 in the back, 10 in the back. You can put all back line on the 18-yard box. If your mind not right, you're not following the runner. You're not following the cross. You're not getting on the second balls. And that's Manchester United problem. Now look at Rúben Amorim's face. Yo, he just want to fight. Look at this screenshot, dog. Hey, this guy, hey, I love him so much, man. I just think he's such a character. And a lot of people might think I don't like Rúben Amorim, but I'm a fan. I promise you, I'm a big fan. I just think he's a young manager that can improve. So let's jump into another game because I don't want to drag on United too much, yeah? So let's jump into another game. So we see now that Sunderland is about to play Brentford. Now, in my predictions, I had both of these teams fighting for relegation and fighting in that era. Now, surprisingly, I'm going to put my hands up, yeah? Both of these teams look really good. And not only that, but not only they look good, but it's so nice to see that Brentford, even after losing Thomas Frank, has continued to play the same way. There is a big thing going on with this Thomas Frank that a lot of people aren't paying attention. But this man doesn't take long to put his marks on team. And when he does leave those teams, they're so adaptable structurally, tactically, mentally, that they can adapt to anything. And it shows because how quick he has taken over Tottenham and how quick he has actually made them play a different style of football. It's just amazing to watch. So watch it. So seeing Brentford keeping that way of playing, bringing in players that for me are a lot more exciting than Wizza. And it's just the quality that I see them play with. It makes me happy to know that I can put my hands up and say, I may be wrong or I may be right, but for what I've seen so far, they probably aren't going to be in that battle. Now, talking about Thomas Frank and Brentford and Sunderland, we're talking about Tottenham now. Tottenham, Thomas Frank is on his 3rd win going in against Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth is a top club. We've seen Bournemouth talent ID. We have to congratulate Bournemouth for their talent ID over the last year. They've sold a player to PSG and Real Madrid. Arguably 2 of the best teams in the world right now. And to say that Bournemouth was able to sell players to those clubs, yes, they're probably not going to be starters right away. But the mere fact that Bournemouth have quality good enough to go to Real Madrid should open up our eyes to the Premier League. Should open up our eyes as people who speak about the Premier League, that the Premier League is a high-level football league. Remember when Bournemouth was just relegated with Eddie Howe a couple of years ago, and now they're able to pull in quality of players that goes to the best teams in the world. We have to recommend the comeback from Bournemouth. Now, talking about comebacks, there's that comeback king we call Jack Grealish. Over the last 2 games, you can tell Jack Grealish is in a different form, and you can tell that Jack Grealish is enjoying playing football again. Now, I have always been an advocate for Jack Grealish in a certain way, but also I call him out for his unprofessionalism. And I will say it all again. If the tables were turned for certain players, the way they deal with Jack Grealish, how they're like, oh yeah, Jack needs game time, Jack needs this, Jack needs that. But then everyone's hoping for Rashford to fail. It really, really makes me have a lot of questions that I want to ask. But I just try to keep away from those questions because it creates a dynamic that you don't need in the world. But when you think about it, it's very hypocritical the way they deal with Jack and Rashford. But Everton, with under David Moyes in their new stadium, have been playing well. They picked up a result in the week, and now they have to play against Pereira Wolves, who had some big quotes about Larson because he's been linked with Newcastle. And he was saying basically, hey, every player has a price. Every player. So if Newcastle willing to splurge a ridiculous amount of money on this player, no problem. I'm for it. We will sell him. You know, and Wolves, you can see, is a selling club. Once you put the money on the table, Wolves will sell the player. They don't have any issues with releasing players that they bring in because these smaller clubs understand that talent ID is a big thing for their club. And the only way for them to beat PSR, the only way for them to beat a lot of rules within the Premier League is for them to create a market where they can buy players for cheap and sell them for a lot. Now, Chelsea has that similar model, but Chelsea is a big club, which makes it even better because Chelsea buys players for cheap, sells them expensive, puts them on these 7-year contracts, adds crazy sell-on clauses to it, and yeah, they just it's a very good way of using your club and building your club. Now, talking about building a club and using a club, we have two clubs here on different sides of the spectrum. Leeds United, just got promotion to the Premier League. But Newcastle United also going through a little trouble with transfers and going through a bit of trouble with them trying to find a solidity within their team. But I actually think Newcastle is in a good place. Eddie Howe has really... No, I don't really respect him as much as a coach. I think Eddie Howe is overrated. He gets away with a lot because he just always goes after high intense players. So his teams always just look like they're working really hard. But in actuality, it's just the type of players that he identifies and go after. Name me one player on Newcastle United that you would call techie, but not hardworking. None. You would more put all of them on the side of hardworking. Even Bruno Guimaraes, who, yeah, he's a nice central defensive midfielder. He's not a world beater. You know what I mean? And technically he's sound because he's Brazilian. But let's be honest, like, he is known for hardworking. Joe Linton, hardworking. Ilanga, hardworking. Gordon, hardworking. Harvey Barnes, hardworking. You know, there's Tonali, hardworking. There's nobody in that team that's just not hardworking. So when you all see them playing at this mad intensity and everyone's like, Newcastle playing at this, it's because everybody just works hard. Everybody just works hard. If you put a bunch of very hardworking people on the pitch, they will run like bulldogs. I'm telling you. That's why a lot of low clubs that have players that just willing to work hard cause a lot of big teams problems. Because when a team full of stars, full of quality, goes to play against a bad team, like United in the week, it's about energy, physicality, power, grit, fight. You know, who wants it more? Now, Newcastle's also struggling with transfers. They're bringing people in. You know, they've brought in that striker from Germany. What's his name again? I can't remember. I think it's Nick Waltermaid. Yeah, and also they brought in Ilanga, Ramsey. Look, listen to the players. All these players are hard-working. And they're about to lose their player with the most quality in Isak. And let's be honest. Alexander Isak isn't no world beater in terms of he skill-wise, quality. Ekitike is a lot more techie than Isak. But you know what Isak is? A goal scorer. Over the last 2 seasons though. Because also for me, I feel what he's doing to the club is very ungrateful. Because before he came to Newcastle, this guy had like 6 goals and 8 goals a season. Came to Newcastle, have a lot of hard-working people around that quality. What do you think happened? Gonna score. You don't need to work hard. Just need to play in the transition. Just need to play after the shoulders of the centre-backs. And you will score a lot of goals. Now, I don't know what's gonna happen with this Isaac case, yeah? But his captain was talking about, they would definitely have him back. So here are some Bruno Guimaraes quotes from when he was talking from an interview from ESPN Brazil. He's saying, I haven't had contact with him. We've been training in the mornings and he trains at a different time when no one from the team is around. As captain and for us players, it's a tough situation because we want to have the best players with us. But that's something we can't control. The club, the management, the owners are dealing with it, and I hope it gets sorted out the best way. He goes on to talk about all the goals he scores or whatever, and then he says, we hope to have our best player back, but unfortunately, this is a situation that neither I nor any other player can control. So, he wants to have Isaac back. Remember when they were talking about, the media was trying to push up that, there's a lot of players, even Anthony Gordon and stuff had said that they would have Isaac back. But they don't think Bruno would have Isaac back. Excuse me? Boy, anybody with a brain knows. Anybody in a football team, once your best player, you want him stay there forever. I do not want to lose playing with one of the best players in the world, because he decides he wants to go to a club that me and you know better than mine. You know what I mean? Don't be a hypocrite. The reason why you moved from your smaller club to, say, Newcastle is because Newcastle was a bigger club than that club. Now, there's a bigger boy. So Newcastle just has to play the puppy. Let the big dogs talk. And the big dogs say he want Isaac. So let him just take Isaac. All this fighting y'all doing, y'all just fighting the inevitable. Y'all, I understand that y'all had to put down make the club seem like, well, it was in a good place and you had to make sure that everything's all right. But come on. No, do better, because it's just what it is. Don't be upset. You know, y'all have Wizard doing the same thing Isaac doing, and y'all criticizing Isaac for doing what Wizard trying to do to come to you. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Simple. And that's it. I have nothing else to say about Liverpool. So, Newcastle. So, Man City against Brighton. Now, Man City, be careful. Be careful, Pep. Be careful. Because if you're not successful this season, I just don't see a way City keeps you when they can go and pick up another high-level manager. Now, do you think that he will win? As in, do you think that they will win again if they lose Pep? There's a possibility. They have money to buy quality. And to be fair, a lot of people don't respect Pep for this. But over the last 6 to 7 seasons that Pep has been in the league, Pep has played a different way every single time. Pep has played he has played with a false 9. He has played with a traditional 9. And this is him implementing different systems to play with these players. He's played with an inverted wing backs. He's also played with a centre back and creates a back 3 with a 2 with Rodri and John Stones. He played with an inverted winger with an overlapping right back. That was his main feature with Kyle Walker. This guy has played so many different ways. He's played with a front 2, but a lot of people didn't even realize one season Pep was actually playing with a front 2. Hey, this man has been tactically adaptable, technically adaptable. Look, everything about Pep Guardiola it's a joy to watch. There's some things about him, his petulance, he's a bit too animated sometimes, but that's passion. Like, I the same. If I was a coach on the box, I think I would be kicking every ball, punching every ball, tackling every ball. I would be doing everything. It's when you love something, it shows, and you shouldn't make people feel guilty for loving what they like to do and showing passion in doing what they like to do. Because at the end of the day, we only have one life to live. And if we only have one life to live, we should enjoy doing everything we do in this life because it's short. So, Brighton now, Manchester United wants to get out their midfielder. I am still not quite sure if this won't happen. I'm telling y'all right now, I can't put myself out there to say, okay, it's impossible that Manchester United don't get Belieber. And I might sound nuts, right? But it's the truth. Manchester United has always gone after a top player in the end of the window. Under Ferguson, let me say. And under the Glazers and under the Ed Woodwards and stuff. They try to keep that tradition going. I can see something like that happening, especially with all these sales happening just before the window close. Let's see what happens if Belieber plays on the weekend, because I just don't think this story goes away so easily. There is no way a club, all transfer window, Manchester United going after players, but in a strategic way. So for me to just sit now and just think that they won't go after Belieber, it's mad. But Brighton's been playing really well. Brighton has been conceding goals, but it's still the same Brighton. Playing nice football, transition, honorable mention to Minter. He has really, really came out showing how good he is this season. I like the fact that he's put on a little bit more body. I like the fact Matoma has put on a little bit more weight as well. And now you can see when he's drifting through the pitch, he can take those hits a bit more. He can take on a bit more pressure. So I'm liking to see what I'm seeing at Brighton. And I don't think Brighton will do anything tremendous or crazy. But I just think that they have a chance to, continuously do what they're doing and keep the Premier League happy by being one of those clubs that bring in talent and allow us to buy them. Now, another game is Forest versus West Ham. Forest versus West Ham, Graham Potter is in some trouble. Both managers for these teams are in some trouble because Nuno had to defend himself against his quotes against the owner of Forest. But also, Graham Potter has to defend his stand on why he should be not only West Ham manager, but at the moment, people are asking the question, why should he be a Premier League manager? Forgetting that for 2 years, this man slapped nearly every manager with Brighton. From the top to the bottom. He beat everybody. Graham Potter, let's not forget the kind of football his Brighton was playing, because up to today, his Brighton probably played, for me, the best football. People will say De Zerbi, but De Zerbi was a carbon copy, and he actually benefited from the structures of a Graham Potter. So let's just get that right. Graham Potter rejuvenated Welbeck's career. Cucurella he brought out. Levi Colwell. Oh my God, I can name so much talent that has come out of this team. Estupenya. Mitoma. We can continue this naming so much quality that left that team. Ben White, and all these were on the Graham Potter. So I don't think that us just attacking this man all the time is a good thing. I know he's not the greatest tactician and he's probably a younger David Moyes. But in terms of what he's done for Brighton, you can't deny that fact. Now what he's doing for West Ham, I don't know. I understand he's trying to change the way they play. He's trying to change the culture. And that's not a bad thing. West Ham playing the type of football Brighton playing 2-3 years on the Graham Potter might be scary, especially with the kind of money West Ham have. So let's not kid ourselves that this is still a good appointment. Now, let's jump to the big game of the weekend. Liverpool versus Arsenal. I just want to jump straight into it because I don't even want to talk too much about it. I don't want to say anything about it. I just want you to have a look at this clip for me for 1 second. And then we're going to discuss everything about that game. But I just want you to just look at this clip for me, please. This clip meant so much to me, watching this. Because it actually made me have a different sort of appreciation towards Eze. Listen to what he says, listen to him, and we'll break it down after that.
I thought about coming back from the moment I understood other clubs and what it meant to become a pro. I've always thought Arsenal is where it's at. That's what I want to achieve. That's what I want to get to. And I remember the day I got released, my mum said a prayer. She was praying that this reverse.
Every time I see this,
of a prayer that we prayed 20 odd years ago, man.
The whole family.
Yeah, this is deeper than anyone.
It makes me cry. You know, it's a very powerful put football aside for a second, yeah? Let's put football aside for a second. Eze's interview, right, is one of the most powerful things I have seen from a football player, a legend on YouTube. Ian Wright is the best pundit there is in world football. I would put my neck on a stick to say this about Ian Wright. The humility, the generosity, the genuinity of Ian Wright is unbelievable. And when you get a man like Ian Wright to do an interview with a young man who has persevered in life, who prayer and God is first in his life, and his mother has shown us that just a little belief, don't discourage your children, if his mother was the person to say, oh, your coach is this person, or your coach is in this and this. Nah. They put it in the hands of God. They believed that it would have been right. He kept on working, knowing that at one day there would be a chance for him to get to Arsenal. And what did he do? Achieve his dreams, achieve his goals. Now, we can put all the banter aside for a second. As we know, me and Arsenal fans banter each other. But I respect this interview on another level. Manchester and no club in the history of the world has ever brought out an interview this powerful. A signing interview this powerful? Nah. I'm telling you, every time I watch this, it brings goosebumps. Because it's this story here, there is so many people, no matter your skin color, no matter how you look, no matter, can definitely feel that they can feel the same way about this. You know, a lot of us feel the same way about this. And to hear about mother's prayer, to hear about how he sat down and believed, he kept trying, how many of us do that? And we never see the rewards for our actions. So to see a young man who kept persevering, not for a year, not for 2, not for 5, 10, 15, 20. A 20-year investment into the mind, into the body, into the soul. I had to share this for y'all because it's deeper than anything y'all can think about. For me, this interview is so much deeper than a lot of people think. And big up to Ian Wright, big up to Eze for it. But let's get into the game now because I do think because of this interview, my boy will score a goal. And I might just be a fan. I may just be a massive fan. This weekend and beyond. No, this interview really drew me to the club, man. I'm telling you, this interview here drew me to Arsenal Football Club and gave me another respect for this club. I'm telling you, because you can tell this club felt special giving a kid his boyhood dream. And for me, you cannot do anything more than respect the people that made this happen. Respect to y'all for that. But Arsenal versus Liverpool, I do think it's going to be a good game. I think all the players that we want to see play well will play well. I don't think there will be a lot of players on the pitch that aren't playing well because both teams are in good momentum. Both teams have a way of playing and they understand a way of playing. So even if players drop their level a bit, the football quality is going to be high. I can see a draw in this game for sure. Now, the only problem is Arsenal is without Saka. Arsenal is without Martin Odegaard, potentially. So, those two changes bring a different dynamic. Now, when Eze playing in an Arsenal team for the first time against Liverpool, who has played with a few of their players already, can be a different thing. But then, a lot of these players have played against Eze for years. So it's not like they don't know somewhat what he can do, especially when he's playing in positions that he's accustomed of playing with. Now, him also playing with a Declan Rice, giving him that stability to play with someone he's played with before. A Lewis Kelly, but I don't think he would start the game, will give him that comfortability to go on to do great things for Arsenal. Honestly, man, I'm very excited about this. And I'm so happy. I'm very happy for Eze. But talking about Eze, let's talk about his former team, Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace plays against Aston Villa. Now, two of my favorite managers going head-to-head right here. Oliver Glasner, I said it when he first signed for Crystal Palace. If y'all go and look at one of my shorts about Oliver Glasner, I'm actually put a link in below. I said Oliver Glasner will win Crystal Palace a trophy. So said, so done. He's been one of my favorite managers, and I will say it again. If Manchester United was to sack Rúben Amorim, please do me a favor. Go get me Unai Emery or Oliver Glasner. Nobody from outside the Premier League. Nobody from... No. Go get me Oliver Glasner. The Premier League is please go get me either of those managers. The Premier League is a different animal. Not every manager is made for it. And not every manager can manage in this league. They might be great managers, don't get me wrong. They might be great coaches, but not every manager is cut out for this cup of tea. So let's now show you some predicted scores. I know this is a long show, but you know how it is, man. We gotta keep entertaining y'all in different ways, yeah? So when y'all having a sip of coffee in the morning, or when y'all having a drink of juice, orange juice, having your sun inside out eggs with yaya sliced bread. Yes. Have yaya in your voice and on your TV as well. You know, preparing yourself. But yeah, this is the score lines I have for the game week this season. So, Chelsea 3-1 to Fulham. Manchester United 2-1. I have 2-2 with Sunderland and Brentford. Here we have Tottenham drawing as well with Bournemouth, I feel. Everton to pick up a win against Wolves because Wolves struggling. Newcastle to beat Leeds because Leeds is on their way to getting relegated, I feel like. Man City to pick up a nice win before the international break. West Ham and Nottingham to draw. I think just because West Ham is struggling, Nottingham still playing well but finding their feet in a way. I think that Graham Potter will pick up a result this weekend. And Arsenal and Liverpool, the big showdown, the big header. If Bukayo Saka was playing this game, I would have tipped Arsenal to win this game 4-2. Because he is that X factor. Let's not kid ourselves. Bukayo Saka is the X factor in this game. I just think Liverpool not good enough defensively to stop Arsenal from scoring. Arsenal, as much as they are defensively, Liverpool attack, amazing. Amazing. So I just think that both teams will equal out each other in a way, which is why I went for the draw. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. The mere fact that Crystal Palace needs, I think, another attacking player because Ismail Assar was relegated with the team. So we're not going to sit on here and act like he's some star player. Eze saved Crystal Palace. You understand? There's a difference to the level of footballers. So Crystal Palace definitely need to go into the window and buy a few players, else they're going to struggle, one, in Europe, and two, they are going to struggle. They are going to struggle if they don't improve, if they don't go get players. So it has to happen. There's no other choice but to make sure that they go buy players. So we're going to jump into the last thing for the day. And that is the Fantasy Premier League. Just a little bit of the predictions. You know, this is my team for the week. I have to show you the team. I have to show you, why I picked this team. Now, I was actually going to make a few subs and maybe make a few more transfers. But I decided to stick with this team. I decided to captain João Pedro because he's playing against Fulham. And as you can see in my predictions, I think Chelsea will beat Fulham. And I think he'll be a big part of it because João Pedro is a star, man. I have Mbeumo, I have Semenyo, I have Rodgers, and I have Gibbs-White as my midfielders. I think Mbeumo will come off the mark in the Premier League, especially missing that penalty. We might just have seen a player get angry and turn up. We have Gibbs-White. West Ham ain't doing well, but I think he might just be a part of a goal or two. Haaland, as we know, I was going to captain Haaland because there's a massive hat-trick possibility in my mind. And maybe I will before maybe I will captain him before the window is closed for game week 3. But I must say, man, Erling Haaland this season has this focus in his eye. For me, it's scary. Yeah. It's scary. And we have Mateta also up top. Cash, Spence, Cucurella as my defenders. I have these guys here because they are definitely the type of players that can get you an assist or goal. Cucurella and Cash, they love to attack. Against Crystal Palace, especially Cash loves a goal, loves a good cross. And they give space. So there is a good reason why I can see that happening. And my boy Spence, I just like Spence. So I had to drop him in there also because he's a quality player, bro. I don't see Porro starting in front of him when Tottenham buys a left back. Because Tottenham will get a left back before the window finish. For sure. There's no way they don't. And when they do, definitely Spence is going to be playing on the right side in front of Porro. So yeah, people, this has been your weekly predictions, your weekly show. Let me know if next time you will like me and you to do my fantasy together. Maybe we can do it in an interactive way. And we can break down, I can tell you exactly why I picked this team. Maybe I'll take the free hit so I can do a few more transfers. We can reset the team after the international break and make it a bit more interesting for y'all. So let me know if you'd like to see that in the comments below. Yes, people, it's been your boy, yeah. I'm telling you all the time. Don't forget, please, to like, share, and subscribe to the page. Keep hitting the bell for notifications. So guess what? This great content, as you can see, can keep coming out to you guys. Have a good time. Take care. It's a weekend, so y'all make sure y'all stay sexy, my people.